Hi, my name is Cecelia Crawford, and welcome to my unbiased news channel, a very rare sighting recently. Today, political polarization is on the rise and is continuing to grow. And I'm here today to talk to y'all about how political polarization is affecting the way we learn about and view politics today. So first off, what is political polarization? Political polarization is the process of going from more centered Democrat and Republican ideas to more liberal and conservative extremes. Compared to other countries, the United States has experienced a much more rapid growth in political polarization, and many are worried, how will we move past this? And I'm not against being able to have opposing viewpoints, constructive debates, and a healthy level of civil discourse, but the level of political polarization we have today is causing more harm than good. So I'm going to share with you how political polarization has affected some people on a personal level. So the first story I have is of a woman named Myra, and in the 2020 election, her son found out that she voted for the Republican Party. Not a big deal, right? He was so upset that he completely cut her out of his life, told her these awful things that you would never want to hear, especially coming from your own son, and they have no contact since. The next story I have is of a woman named Gail, and in the 2016 election, she found out her son voted for the Republican Party. She found out that her husband voted for the Republican Party. She was so upset that she divorced him at the age of 77 after a long marriage, all because he voted for the opposite political party. The last story I have is of a woman named Rosanna. And in the 2020 election, she decided to vote for the Democratic Party. Her family consistently voted Republican, so whenever her brother found this out, he was so upset. And he basically convinced the rest of their family who voted Republican to cut her out and never speak to her again. She didn't even know when her own mother passed away. She had to find out weeks later in an email that her sister-in-law sent her because no one wanted to tell her because they didn't associate with her anymore. Can you imagine being cut out of your family, getting a divorce, and not even knowing when your own mother passed away, all because of political polarization? So the next way that I'm going to show you how political polarization has not only affected us on a personal level, but I'm going to show you how it's affected our nation as a whole. So as you can see behind me, Congress has gone from more of the centered Democrat and Republican ideas I talked about earlier to the more liberal and conservative extremes. Now, this is making it harder to come up with solutions on legislation, and political events have become less about negotiation and more about which side is right and which side is wrong. So, now that I've showed you how political polarization has affected us in a personal level and also our nation as a whole, I have some terms that I think are going to help me explain how political polarization is continuing to grow, and if we become aware of it, we can see how it's continuing to grow and maybe work towards having less polarized vision. So, the first one I have is political socialization. Political socialization occurs whenever socializing agents around you contribute to your own political identity. So this could look like going over to your grandparents' house and they're either religiously watching Fox or CNN. Or you're at school and you overhear your friends saying, well, my parents said this or my parents said that about a political event. Or you're at home and you overhear your own parents talking about a political event. And you're picking up on what they're saying and you're understanding it, but you're not really thinking that it's affecting you, you're just listening to what they're saying. But it's slowly building and developing into your own political identity, even if you're aware of it or not. The next one I have is truth decay. And so this is a term created by the RAND Corporation, and it's compiled of 4 factors, which I'm going to be focusing on right now. So the first one is the way that we interpret information, so we make sure it fits best for us. Seeing something as either opinion or fact, whatever fits best for us. Either over-exaggerating or underplaying a political event, once again, whatever fits best for us. And losing faith in our news sources, which have become extremely hyperpolarized and biased. But I'll get into that in a little bit. The next one I have is the echo chamber effect. So the echo chamber effect occurs whenever we consistently remind ourselves and only show ourselves ideas that we are constantly right. So that's only looking at certain things that always confirm our political ideas and blocking out opposing viewpoints. This is creating tunnel vision. So we are only seeing what we want to see, confirm that we are always right constantly. And we're not even giving the other side the time of day to even consider their ideas. And we see this happen a lot in America, because 8 out of 10 citizens say that they only associate with people who have the same political affiliation as them. This also takes place a lot on places like social media. So I love social media, and I use it all the time. I think most people agree with me when I say that. And it's great for being able to find out political information. It's right at our fingertips, and stuff is posted constantly, new news all the time. And although it's important to be able to access political information and be aware of what's happening around us, It's even more important to know that the information we're learning is credible and valid, which is hard with social media and the internet itself. Because on the internet, anyone can post whatever they want, make it right or wrong. And we have extremely hyperpolarized and biased news sources. An example could look like this. So, this is a speech given whenever Trump was in office, and it's from two well-known biased news sites. This is CNN, it's more liberal-leaning. This is Fox, it's more conservative. So, CNN is saying that Trump is attacking the media and he ignored warning signs. He's awful right, we should get him out of office. Fox is saying that he's just trying to bring us back to a normal life. He wants to bring us back to before COVID, whenever we were all happy. He's great, he's an awesome guy. These are two totally different ways to look at a message, ignoring the main political speech and catering to these hyperpolarized news sources that we have today. Furthering strengthening the political polarization. So, that's one way we're getting our political information. We should be getting it from places like news sources. So, news sources are credible and valid, and they have to be good quality to be posted. So that whenever we're seeing them, we know that the information is good and it's not biased. It's good and we're reading it and it's known to be true. But because of social media and the internet, we're mainly getting our political information from places like news aggregators. So news aggregators take the latest information from anywhere and bring it to you because it thinks that's what you want to see. An example could be like Google News. Google News goes into your search history. It takes your search history, finds whatever it thinks you want to see, even if it's right or wrong, and gives it to you inside of Google News. So when you're using Google News, you're like, oh my gosh, this is great. I'm seeing everything I want to see, and it looks like I'm right about every single political event coming up. But that's not true. It's just showing you the biases that it knows that you have from your search history, which is once again strengthening that political polarization we have today and making it worse. So this becomes an issue because 62% of adults get their political information from the internet. And with that, 41% of the information that they're consuming is wrong. 49% of the information has become more angry. And 53% of that information is more disrespectful. Now, I don't think this comes as a shock to anyone, because I've already shared how incorrect the information can be that we're getting through hyperpolarized and biased news sources and people being able to post whatever they want on social media. And people have become more angry and disrespectful, which we've seen whenever you block a certain politician or you're only following certain people, and people get upset. People get upset and they backlash in the comment section and they're mean about a political event or they post stuff that's not true. But by sharing false information, becoming more angry and disrespectful doesn't validate your opinion more than anyone else's, because your opinion is owned for your reason. And if you put yourself in someone else's shoes, you'd most likely agree with what they had to say. But I'm not here to reprimand you. I'm just here to say that if education and learning is at the core of how we can solve this problem. So, if we do our own research, make sure what we're learning is true, and we are aware of all the factors leading towards this growth of political polarization, we can better work towards seeing how it's growing and maybe have less polarized vision. So, let's do our own research, vote for who we want to, and believe in what we want to believe to, and not just what you're told, because you are your own mind. Thank you.